I'll never forget the look on Patricia Bellwether's face when she used her HOA master key to break into my house. There she stood, frozen in my doorway, staring at the two police officers sitting comfortably on my sofa. Officer Thompson looked up from his coffee and said in the calmest voice imaginable, "Well, right on schedule." Patricia's eyes went wide as saucers. Her clipboard clattered to the floor. Then she stumbled backward, tripped over my welcome mat, and landed face first in my potted geraniums. My name is Daniel Morrison. I was 30 years retired from corporate accounting, looking forward to peace. My house in Riverside Heights was perfect, except for Patricia Bellwether. The woman wore her HOA authority like a military uniform. She showed up 3 days after I moved in, clipboard in hand. She cited me for a mailbox that was 7/10 of an inch too tall. She complained that my garden hose was coiled counterclockwise instead of clockwise. She even tried to cite me for curtains that were too beige, creating what she called an aesthetically disruptive neutral zone. When I politely declined to change my curtains, she huffed, "We'll see about that, Mr. Morrison. The HOA has ways of dealing with troublemakers." The harassment escalated quickly. She parked across the street, taking photos with a telephoto lens. The suspicious delivery she claimed meant I was running a business was a new microwave. She complained about the font on my house numbers. Then I installed a bird feeder. She showed up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, shouting about unauthorized wildlife attractants. When I pointed out it wasn't in the bylaws, she furiously scribbled an emergency amendment onto her clipboard. That's when I knew she was completely unhinged. I installed clearly visible, completely legal security cameras. Patricia retaliated by telling neighbors I was spying on the community. At an emergency meeting, Gladys Palmer, 78, raised her hand and said, "Patricia, didn't you install cameras on the community mailbox last year to catch people not closing it properly?" The room went silent. I started noticing small things had been moved around my property. Then one day, I came home to find my back gate wide open. Nothing was stolen, but someone had been in my yard. I filed a police report. Officer Thompson took the report and warned me. "We've had complaints about this HOA president before. She seems to think those master keys give her carte blanche to enter any property she wants." He explained the keys were only for genuine emergencies like fire or flood. The next day, I caught Patricia on camera trying to peer through my windows with binoculars. When I confronted her, she muttered something about Phase 2. I called Officer Thompson and updated him. That's when I had an idea. If Patricia was going to escalate, I would set the perfect trap. I took a few days off, changing my routine to make it look like I was leaving for work every morning at 8 a.m. sharp. I would drive around the corner, park, and sneak back home through the back alley. Then, I'd wait inside with my cameras rolling. On the third day, I called Officer Thompson, explaining my plan. He and Officer Rodriguez arrived through my back door at 8:30 a.m. and settled onto my living room sofa, enjoying coffee and donuts. At exactly 8:45 a.m., we heard a key turning in my front door lock. We all turned toward the door as it slowly creaked open. Patricia stepped inside, clutching her clipboard and a measuring tape. She was muttering to herself about interior violations and unauthorized modifications. Then she looked up and saw the two uniformed police officers on my sofa. Her face drained of color. Her clipboard slipped from her hands. Officer Thompson stood up slowly and said in his most official voice, "Patricia Bellwether, you're under arrest for breaking and entering, criminal trespass, and violation of Texas Penal Code Section 30.05. Patricia's legs gave out, and she collapsed onto my entry rug, stammering something about HOA authority and emergency inspections. Officer Rodriguez just shook his head. "Ma'am, wanting to measure someone's curtains is not an emergency." As they placed her in handcuffs, Patricia kept insisting she had the right to enter any home in the HOA, waving the master key around like a magic wand. Officer Thompson patiently explained that HOA rules don't supersede actual laws. You can't just break into people's homes because you don't like their mailbox height. Within hours of her arrest, word had spread. My doorbell didn't stop ringing as neighbors came by to thank me. Gladys Palmer brought me an apple pie, gleefully saying, "I've been waiting for someone to stand up to that woman for 5 years." The next HOA meeting was the most attended in the subdivision's history. Story after story came out about her abuses, entering homes to measure furniture, going through mail, counting decorative stones. The board voted unanimously to remove her as president and to change all the neighborhood locks. 2 months later, I testified at Patricia's court date. The judge wasn't having her lawyer's argument that she was acting within her authority. "Mrs. Bellwether," the judge said sternly, "being an HOA president doesn't make you law enforcement. It doesn't give you the right to violate people's privacy or enter their homes without permission. Patricia was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to 2 years probation, 300 hours of community service, and a $5,000 fine. She was also permanently banned from serving on any HOA board in the state. As the sentence was read, Patricia turned to me, tears in her eyes. "But I was just trying to maintain property values." The judge replied, "The only value you've damaged here is your own, Mrs. Bellwether."